When I was 6 years old, I broke my leg. And I was running from my brother and his friends, and tasted the sweet perfume of the mountain grass I rolled down. I was younger then. Take me back to when
If you could choose your favorite home cooked meal, what would you choose?
That's a hard one. I have recently moved out within like the past like couple years from graduating college and stuff. And I always think about this question of like, oh, like I want to go home and I just want this or I just want that. And I think it's a little bit different of an answer, but my mom, she does like a spread of like kind of a charcuterie board type thing. And we have our whole family over. And usually when we have that, I know that like my whole family's coming over. So I would say that solely because of what it means rather than what it is.
All right, so that's a great sign knowing that that's it. Like
Yeah.
that's awesome. Those are, oh my goodness, they're just so good too. Like
Yeah, I can't complain. So she feels like the whole table. I'm like, great.
that's incredible. The ones we've usually had are were pretty basic and small. So the fact that it's the whole entire table,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to prepare a little more next time when I make one. So to kind of transition a little more into like some of the questions, especially within baseball and the sports industry in general. I always talk about how important the sense of community is, and
hmm
community does look different no matter where you go. And so, what does it look like on your end?
So I love this question just because this is something that I've personally found so much enjoyment in and trying to build out, especially with us at the Navigators. Recently, within the past couple of years, we've been trying to work closely with like different school, community, and camps in the area. So we do a school day and a camp day, as well as we do different days of having our players go out into the community. So last year we had a bunch of our players. We had at least 4 players at each school go to different schools in Lynn and Salem. And this year we're trying to expand it out to Lynn, Salem, Revere, Swampscott, and hopefully Marblehead as well. And they did field days and reading days at different schools. So for us, I think it's less of we want people to come to us. Obviously, we want people to come to the games. Everybody wants people to come to the games. However, I think what the best part of community means to us as the navigators is meeting people where they're at so that we can build those opportunities and bridges of like, you don't know what we are, but here's like a prime example. Let's go to you and you can understand where our goal and our mission's at and our standard of community and bring it over. We've also been offering like season tickets to any families that, financially can't afford it, or there's some different obstacles in the way for those families. So we work through the schools. And rather than us knowing they identify the families, we just give the season tickets and we go that direction because we don't want there to be any limits of being able to see a baseball game and understanding what goes on. The other aspect of it is having the boys go to schools for reading days. We can have different students understand the importance of academics, right? So we have all our guys are still in college and academics are still a very important piece of their lives, while also understanding like you have the opportunity to do some sport that you love and continue doing what you want to do as you go into college. And this can be a gateway to get there.
Yeah, sure. And I loved what you said too about meeting people where they're at.
Yeah.
I think in our positions that we have, especially within baseball, I think we definitely like have a unique opportunity to do that. And I think you really nailed the head on that for sure, in the sense of, giving the season tickets out or like bringing folks to the ballpark and just being like, hey, this is what it is. Like,
Yeah.
and just really providing that unique experience. And so on a game day, as soon as a fan does hit the gate for the first time, what would that look like in terms of their sense?
The minute you get in, you're automatically greeted. We're so fortunate with the way that our field is set up is that on your way in, you're greeted immediately by the bullpen, which you'll see on the left side of you. So you hand in your tickets and you have that immediate interaction with the bullpen. You can see the guys starting to warm up. You get a lot of like the younger kids over there getting autographs signed or trying to see what's going on, which is really cool to watch. I think being of a younger generation right now, I can really like remember my times of being on sporting events and seeing like these people playing and being like, oh my God, I want to be there, or I want to get there. And having that be the first thing you're met with, I think that's just an incredible aspect of how our field's just designed naturally. As you continue down, you immediately continue into like getting into like the outfield, getting into the infield. So you're following this whole trail of like the pathway of our field in. And then once you're in there, it's kind of every man for himself. You find a seat wherever you want. We're not really into, you pay a certain price, you're going to stay here. It's all GA seating except for our party decks, which we have one on the first base side and one on our third base side. Throughout the stadium, you'll see every person wearing either a Navs hat or a Navs shirt or sweatshirt that we're getting in this year. And what's really cool is since we've been here for so long and different versions of the team, there was the Spirit years and years ago. You still see some people in their Spirit gear, which is kind of funny to watch. But it's just a really cool experience. As you continue through, you'll see different interns in their orange jerseys, and they're probably just excited as you are as a fan or as the players are on the team, to help you out where you want to sit, whatever you want to do. But we faced those, and then as you continue through the stadium, it's really nice because it is an older stadium. It gives you that more like, okay, like this is baseball, feeling, rather than, oh, we're going to see this, or we're going to see this, we're going to see this. It's just that old school baseball stadium feeling that you're walking into.
Yeah, and I love what you said, that's GA seating. I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
Especially, families do come in, I think it gives that little more flexibility too, in a sense of like, okay, you have a couple kids, they want to run around. So like,
exactly.
it allows, kind of gives that freedom for them too.
Exactly. And it's funny you say that. So on one side of the fence towards our first base side, there's a little hill, we call it the grassy knoll, and you'll see all the kids running around there throughout the entire game and playing there. We have a playground on the backside as well for the younger kids who, maybe baseball's taking a little bit longer for them, but we have that playground over there, and then that's right next to our concession stadium. One thing that we've had throughout the year is if you catch a foul ball or get a foul ball as a kid, you can go take the foul ball and turn it in for Dippin' Dots or a different like ice cream novelty that we have, which has always been a really, really fun and cool thing, because you can hear like the screams of like little kids, like the minute it's a foul ball, and you can be anywhere in the stadium, you're like, it's a foul ball, like they got it, and they're running through the stadium, I got it, I want chocolate Dippin' Dots or whatever it is. So it's always funny to watch that.
And that's really cool. I like to hear that a lot. And so I know we're kind of alluding to this a little while ago, so I know, we're kind of saying how our schedule changes, so much.
Mm.
But if you could describe like I guess I'll call it like maybe an average day. I feel like there is no average day, but like somewhat of a normal-ish day. Like, what would that look like for you?
Okay, let's see. I would say, so for myself personally, I've been with the Navs for 4 years. I couldn't tell you that there's ever been a day I've shown up that's been the same as the day that I've shown up before. An average day, however, I'd say I'm getting to the stadium around, if it's a 7 o'clock game, I'd say around like noonish, starting to set up, make sure we have everything, getting any last minute preparations. We have 2 party decks, so we filled those out pretty well. And it's always been a really cool experience over there. We're filling up any drink carts we have. We're setting up our interns, making sure they're going where they need to go and knowing what they need to do. So that first couple weeks, it's a lot of like training and putting interns into the right places. Whereas once we hit like that mid ends of the summer, it's just on cruise control. They know where they're going. They know when they're showing up. Okay, I have this, and this. We get to have the boys in there. They're warming up as well. You can listen to any of the music throughout the stadium. There's a lot of song requests, some turn downs, but there's definitely song requests going on. So It's just really good spirits throughout the entire stadium. And then that 1 hour before the game starts, it's click on. And we talked about this before, that adrenaline that shoots through the roof. There's no other feeling like it. I really can't describe it. I've been playing sports my entire life. And you're just locked in and it's ready to go. So we have the beverage carts going around. We have our concession stand cranking out food like there's no tomorrow. We have our merch perch selling sweatshirts, hats, t-shirts. You see everybody geared out. It's awesome. And then right when it's time to go, we're putting people out for the national anthem, running out with the players on the field. So it's really cool experience like that. And, we are so fortunate for the game of baseball is like, you do have an ability to go watch when you want. And the way that our stadium's set up, we definitely get to, do some switch around so people can get an inning or two, to watch. So it's been cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And so I still got, a couple friends still down in college and still going through that whole experience, especially within, the sport management programs. And I've always loved this question because I feel like, especially with this, everybody's answers unique and different, which is fantastic. So if you, could provide any recommendations, even if just one, for folks just starting to get into the industry, what would be your biggest recommendation?
Well, that's a tough one because I give my interns like 800 every single day. You could ask any of my interns. They're like, yeah, Maggie told me that already. So, I think the biggest one is what you put into it is what you get out of it. So I'm 23 years old. I'm in the position as a general manager, and I never would have thought I'd be here if I was sitting back like 5 years ago. I'd be like, baseball, no way. Like, absolutely not. I wouldn't know any terminology I know now. So, it's really like once you find something that you love or enjoy, putting into it what you see your future, or even if you don't see your future and you never know the people you can meet or the connections that are in the sports world. It's absolutely crazy how many people know anyone. But with that being said, definitely what you put into it is what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said too, to go off that point, like somebody knows somebody, and that somebody knows somebody.
Exactly.
It's wild.
Sports
Absolutely.
are crazy.
Yeah, for sure. And that point being said too, it's kind of the final question I have for you today. So the game of baseball means, I think, a little bit of something different to everybody. And just wanted to ask you, now that you're in the sport of baseball and all that,
Yeah.
what does the game of baseball mean to you?
I think that's a great question. So I'll kind of backtrack a little bit. You know, for Nav specifically, we get a new team every single year of players. And that takes recruiting starting in October for us. So we're looking at different teams, we're building those connections in there. And because baseball is such a specific sport, like any other sport, specific people know each other. And I think it's so solely about building connections out and finding the people that, okay, I know this person knows this person, but it's not a transactional relationship. It's an honest and very transparent relationship that you have to have in sports. So I think that ultimately translates onto the baseball field as well. I have players on our team. I'll call one out right now. One of our players, we call him Sunshine. And his walk-up song is Sunshine, like Walking on Sunshine, the best kid ever. And there's days where maybe he isn't having his best game, but he's always the loudest person cheering on his teammates every single time. There is no question about it. And it's just incredible. So Sunshine, also known as Jonathan Luters, he's been our teamer for a bunch of years. And, when I think of baseball, I always think about that one kid, because baseball can be like a little bit slower of a sport. You have these kids who are like always going and always cheering on their teammates. And similarly, you have the people in the recruiting world who are always going. You have our team who's always going. Everybody's always going at the like 900 miles an hour, especially in sports and especially in baseball. And I think when you sit down and think about it, as long as as baseball is, it's a long game, right? So the time length of the game is long, but you have to be in it 100% mentally the entire time. I think that translates on and off the field, but you also have those people, or be that person who's a leader on the field and always cheering on your teammates, always cheering on your peers, or the people who work below you, or people who work above you, or even your players. So I think when I think of baseball, I just think of this long game of just one person always cheering on other people or cheering on themselves. And that's where I think of it.
That's awesome. Thanks so much for that. That's definitely appreciate that answer. So all it takes is just that one person to
Yeah.
really uplift everything and really
Yeah.
make that day.
Absolutely.